Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I am Gat, your host. A viewer requested this twin flames natal charts analysis. The person who requested a female is on the left and the male is on the right. And we ask the archangels for the time. I'm just looking at the chart right now. But let me just say a couple of things. So she'll get a free report on astrology, how it corresponds with your natal chart, also with the archangel cards, tarot cards, little information about the chakras on there, all 12 houses of all the zodiac signs. So that's for people that want to know a little bit more. Also on that paperwork is websites such as the full moon, like the moon phases, because whenever a person has an archangel card reading, Hanael will come out and say, know your moon cycles. We're about to enter a full moon, just to let you know, blood super full blood blue lunar eclipse moon. And I did do a video on that explaining it, because it's going to be a major shift. You'll see. For every zodiac sign, so I explained that totally. And that video is actually for anybody who's placed an order, for anybody who has recently donated, and that's free. A lot of people have seen it, they love it. And for anybody who's never just listening or always on the channel taking information, never giving back, for anybody that's never ever done anything other than come here and take, which is against universal law, then the minimum donation is $15. And I think anybody who has donated, like I said, people benefit, because there's going to be a shift. This is the whole thing about astrology. You're not watching TV. This is actually your life. And the more people realize that, I can guarantee the better their life will become, because they'll begin to break out of this third dimensional matrix, which is the reason why so many people have so much dysfunctions and so many problems in their life. Now, the main thing you see immediately on these charts is the moon sign, moon in Cancer. So that's the connection. Yeah, her ascendant is really unique, because her ascendant is right on the border. Her ascendant could either be Virgo or Leo, but we'll count her first house where Leo is. But the truth of the matter is, because of where that is, like, she would have to know, her personality. She'd be the best one to tell you. And she might even show a little bit of both. Okay, now at his Mars, you see Mars in Taurus. He's got 1111. And 22 is usually the twin flame number. You see 22 at her Venus, but she has it at her Uranus as well. And she has it at her vertex, because 22 is, like I said, it's a twin flame number, 1111, 22. So on her chart, they made her 12th house her first house, basically, with the ascendant and the EP. They did the same thing for his chart. In cases like that, the person actually has two 12 houses. The reason why I'm saying that, because they made their 12th house the first house, And so that 12th house, the other 12th house, is also the other 12th house. Well, I'll explain one reason why they do that. That's going to be the first thing we do. It's always good to take notes. It will be a lot of information, and sometimes people think information wasn't covered, but it was. It's just that they got so much information. It's just human nature. You kind of, if somebody's talking for a while, you tend to just turn off. So that's why you take notes. And also, the left side will always take longer because I'm explaining everything. When you get to the right side, it's just about telling you what's in the house because I've already explained the houses, all these symbols and everything. So we just explain what each house is saying. All right. And give me a moment. Now, the 12th house deals with being in the mother's womb, the prenatal experience. The first house deals with the actual birth. But whenever they're manipulating, when I say they, it's whoever. See, this is why everybody needs their natal chart. That was put together by somebody. You can say God, whatever you're comfortable with. But the bottom line is, this is like a written script for your life. And all I can tell people is it's relatively pretty accurate. But what happens in third dimensions, we don't always. We go with third dimension. We go with our egos. We go with our fears. So that's why you have a difference. And then when you believe in reincarnation, you have to do it over until you actually do what you're supposed to, or if you believe in reincarnation. I see 22 at his moon sign as well. So both of these persons might see 1111 or some version of 1111 or ones. And he has a lot of threes on his chart, especially with the asteroids. And even with 3 is usually a number they say like for the ascendant masters or in numerology, but I want to look at Bill Heydrich, the number 3. And it can deal with death and resurrection. I want to do it again. Number 3, the name of the third Sapphira, father, benefactor, charioteer, sustainer, teacher, advisor, lord or possessor, chief of a family, tribe, forefront. See, all these like leaders, like ascended masters, like I said, the old profession of a trade. To lead. All right. Now we will be going back to the 12th house when when we get there. Alright, so now we're looking at the chart on the left. We're looking at the first house, which is ACEP. AC is the ascendant. That is your rising sign. But it's right there on the border. So it could be Virgo, Leo. And people are going to tell you, well, you can only have one sign. And that's why I said, the person has to make their own decision. But basically, you're sharing both those energies of Virgo and Leo. And the ascendant is where the sun was rising over the horizon at your moment of birth. The EP is the ecliptic. And again, that's again the sun at a location when you were born. Sun over the ecliptic when you were born. The EP. And of course, the sun sign is Leo. And that became your first house because of the EP and AC. But the truth of the matter is, it's kind of like your 12th house. So all this stuff is going to make sense. All right, so So 12th house and first house are dealing with the prenatal, pre-birth, and the birth. What was the circumstances? And I'm just looking at this. Okay, I do believe I see Venus. They're saying this was a pleasant pregnancy where the mother was calm, relaxed. The mother may have indulged in an excessive amount of food or treated herself to relaxing activities and music. There may have been issues regarding money, and they're saying it's because of Venus, and expenses along with an evaluation about a possible change in values for the family either during the pregnancy or when the child arrives. The parental experience is relaxing with the child, and the birth may occur late or be induced because the mother does not go into labor on time. That's with Venus. And again, we're counting that. See, it's just a little complicated because, like I said, they made the 12th house the first house, so that first house is really second house. But because of what they did, you could still have. In other words, it's the back door, but for some reason you say, "Hey, for this situation, we're going to use the back door like the front door." But if you go in the back door, you walk in, you're still going to see the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? So you have to read it that way, and that's why I said the person, they have to kind of know because it's their life. And what I just read is because Venus is further away from that house that they made the first. It may not be true, but you still have to read it because I'm treating the first house as I'm treating the 12th house, which became the first house because of the placement of EP and AC. I'm treating that as both. I'm giving you the reading for both, any possibilities, and it is going to matter when you put up both. If these were both twin flame charts, it would make the major difference. That's why his moon sign is the same. See, because I'm trying to tell you they're dealing with. See, that's her 12th house, and it's all twin flame and family and stuff like that. and we'll learn more about the 12th house. Let's continue. All right, now let's see Mercury. A mother who studies about pregnancy and child rearing is often found with this placement. She takes an intellectual view of the pregnancy and wants to make sure she does everything correctly. She carefully watches her weight gain, eats correctly, and educates herself in all the possible problems with the birth. The prenatal experience is pleasant and stimulating. When that goes back to what they said about Venus. The birth goes as planned. See, and they did that. They're kind of telling you that Venus was closer to the ascendant, which in this case would be the first house. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Cancer or the moon, as we were just talking about. And now, even though that's the 11th house, but because they put AC and EP in the 12th house, it also becomes the 12th house. You got to really understand this. And it makes sense. It's kind of like you're dealing with past lives. You're dealing with karma. It's like when a police officer pulls you over and he says, I'm going to give you a ticket for this. But you start mouthing off. So he says, okay, now you got a ticket for that and you got a ticket for this. So that's kind of what you're looking at. That's what you're looking at here. So this is your 12th house with the Cancer. The moon in Cancer. And this is going to be your Imum Coeli, which connects to your 4th house of family. And we'll talk about all this when we get there. But they're telling you about the moon in Cancer. So this was a highly emotional time for your mother. There were security issues with the mother's marriage or in the mother's life in general. Possibly the stability of the marriage, the housing, or the money. There might have been a focus on the home. Rather staying there, leaving, remodeling, moving. And the mother may have been a little bit worried over the caring of the new child with Cancer and the moon. Leo or the sun, which you do see the Leo. Now let me just see. In fact, you see Leo in the sun because the sun sign is Leo. The mother's proud during pregnancy. The pregnancy is inspiring to her. She feels the pregnancy fulfills. She feels that the pregnancy fulfills her and gives her meaning in life. There may be issues related to the heart of either the child or the mother, or blood issues during the birth. The birth may be slightly early and is celebrated. Because whenever you see Cancer, Cancer also deals with the heart in the 4th house, and so does the Leo. Leo could deal with the house as well, the heart. Okay, I believe we see Jupiter in Cancer. So Jupiter in Cancer could mean traveling while pregnant, giving birth in a foreign land, or while traveling is common with this placement. And I'm going to even say it could even be foreigners, or what we might consider foreign, or what they may consider foreign. Issues of freedom are central in the mother's pregnancy, and there may be a debate about staying with or separating from the father. Excessive eating is common, or anything that the mother attaches to during the pregnancy can be done in excess. Saturn, the mother who is overwhelmed with responsibilities during pregnancy or working very hard while pregnant. Her resources may be limited, and her life in general may be difficult during this time. The child may seem like a big responsibility. The birth may be difficult, lengthy, or go over term. A surgery is often required, such as a cesarean section birth. So, just a little pressure, but again, it was seen to be put on by the mother. But Saturn could also be the father, could be a male energy. And see those houses you're looking at where it says 11, 12, and 1, it seems very motherly, because even Virgo is a virgin. She represents like the Virgin Mother Mary or Isis, just like she represents the Sphinx of the pyramid, and a Leo represents the body of the Sphinx, but the Virgo represents the head, and Leo represents the body, which again is divine masculine, divine feminine. So your houses, they say 11, 12, and 1, but they're really 12, 1, and 2 because of where they put EP and AC. It's really it's talking a lot about your birth, just so you know that. So, first house Leo. First house represents your how the world sees you. It's ruled by Aries. So this could be a very forward moving, bold person. Leo can be very bold, could brag a lot, maybe overconfident, very romantic, loves life, childlike, maybe really good with children, loves to travel, loves to take risks, very creative, very romantic. Just enjoys life, having fun. So now that circle with the cross in the middle and the center is called, I believe, good fortune. Can also be called part of fortune. So let's see what that says. All right, so when you see good fortune, in the first house, this person was born just after a new moon. And that's interesting. So let's put that to the test. Let's put that to the test. Give me a moment. All right, just give me a second. I got the information I wanted, but now I'm just trying to reason it and understand it. So I'm going to read this again. is a person who was born at or just after a new moon. So the new moon actually occurred on August 3rd. So we could play with words, but if you want to say at or just after, well, at, in my opinion, would have been about August 2nd, and after would have been like August 5th. Because I'm looking at the chart. I went to stardate.org and I'm looking at the chart. So you would have to understand what they meant by at or just after. If they mean technically at, then yeah, but if not, then yeah, the first would have been close enough, in my opinion. Because the reason why I'm doing that, because I'm counting new moon, I'm counting where part of fortune is, I'm counting that as the first house. And the fact of the matter is, this is all about energy, so you don't have to get that technical. But also, sometimes they're wrong, because your part of fortune could have been closer to that 11th, so-called 11th house, which became the 12th house because of the ACEP. So what I'm trying to show you, and it may be hard for people to understand, I'm close to what everything's saying. That's why a lot of her AC is really close, and her good part of fortune, or good fortune, is kind of close. See, I'm close based on what they're giving, but I'm trying to tell you, and I'm trying to show you that what I'm telling you is correct. Your 12th house became the first house the moment they kind of put AC and EP there. But they did that for a reason. This has to do with past lives and your connection to your twin. So if you can understand the houses and then you can understand energy, you'll understand. But if you try to technically understand it, you're not gonna get it. You're just gonna get frustrated. But I just showed you what I'm telling you is true, because I'm telling you, if I'm saying part of fortune is in, say, the whatever I say. Let me look at this again. First house. They said you would be close to new moon, and it is. Now, let's play with it just a little bit more. Let's just say if I said part of fortune is in the 12th house. Let's see what they say. A good fortune. See, they don't even say anything about a new moon, which means I'm right. Because if it was important for them to say new moon with the first house, they would have said it in the 12th house. I'm just making sure the count's right. But you still have to be aware of what they did. Kind of like people like to get facelifts and stuff. You can get all the facelifts you want, but at the end of the day, your body is still aging and things like that. And no matter what you do, it's still going to be a fact that the body's still aging. So no matter what they did, it's still a 12th house. But you have to realize what they did and count it. But I'm explaining it to you and why they did it. All right, now you want part of fortune in Leo. Or good fortune in Leo. Person will be showy, grand, generous, very self-assured. They have leadership ability. The person can be dramatic, creative, but they need recognition from others in order to feel happy and successful. So that's pretty much your first house. and part of fortune kind of proves that that is the first house. Because you were born you were born right before a new moon. The new moon was on August 3rd. Now, the second house is about money. It's also your true north node. You have a good mental sense of money. Your second house is about money, possessions, and how you value things. But you might even fight having them because it's also your true north node. So you might even have a career or job, or you might even have some type of like your purpose is associated with Virgo's about health and finance, home and finance, but even a critical analysis of finances and possessions. And that's what Mercury makes you really a mentor, a thinker, a communicator, and even like home remodeling. Like, because that's Venus deals with beauty and finance and fashion. And Saturn makes you somewhat of a want to make standards, like administration. And it's usually Saturn could be a masculine energy, but it doesn't have to be. Sometimes it can be a female who just has masculine ways. But with Virgo, you have to just worry about being overly critical. But Virgo is a worker, likes to work. And also Virgo likes to serve. But what's funny is when you see Mars with Virgo, it can be very intense. But like I said, Virgo is very detailed. And Virgo can see things that other people can't see. And Virgo can find problems faster than any other sign. But Virgo has to be careful when you have Mars energy, because it can start to be too much, too combative, too much. Like Mars can be somewhat debating, warful. So you have to be careful of that. And it's interesting to me how they have Saturn on one side and Mars on the other. That usually is talking about a procession. Because Mars almost leads you into your third house, which is going to be about relationships. Because you got Libra there, and your third house is also ruled by Gemini. And ironically, Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. So your second and your third house deal a lot with Mercury energy. But Mercury is a communicator and the thinker, the intellect. And also, I believe this person is highly creative as well. So the main thing we want here is Mars in the second house. But I really want somebody who's going to explain it well and not just give me a typical definition for Mars in the second house, because there's a reason why they put Mars in the second house. So with Mars in the second house, you may be likely to exert your energy and initiatives in the business enterprise or other financial dealings in an active search for personal wealth. Capital is acquired through careful investments, and that's where you get the Virgo from. Even though I didn't ask anything about Virgo, I said Mars in the second house. But when you start talking about careful and diligent, no, that's Virgo. Sheer hard work and clever financial dealing. So this person's no dummy. Strong-willed, determined, and resourceful, you enjoy a challenge and thrive on opposition. You may become a financial genius or a mere spendthrift. So they kind of look forward to competition because they got the mental wit and so they look forward to it. Somewhat of a strategic, because Saturn's going to help them organize it and administrate it and set it up. And then Virgo's like, I wish you would. I wish you would challenge me or think that somehow you're going to stop any of my goals or agendas. So this person can make a lot of money because they got the mind for it. They can communicate. And they're not afraid of opposition. So I'm assuming they would have a lot of money that I see on the chart so far. And even when you look where Jupiter is in the 12th house, it is direct, which means there's no hindrance. So you got a leader, an administrator, a planner, and strategic, and a person who's not afraid of opposition. Impressive. First three houses. And a lot of that probably has to do with the mother, who's represented by the moon in Cancer, because that's Imum Coeli in the 4th house. See, this is why you take your time. You just don't rush it. You got to realize the universe is a lot smarter than us. I try to tell people that. The more we realize that, the better off we'll be. It's only when we have to debate and think, we just get caught up on third dimensional stuff and we can become very petty and just things we do. All right, so now you're going into the 3rd house, ruled by Gemini. It deals with siblings, younger education, short travel. Short travel. Creativity. Surroundings. The community around you. The twins. It's mental as well and multitasking. So this person is all about partnerships, contracts, law, balance, relationships possibly. So we'll look at Pluto and Libra first, but then we have to look at Pluto in the 3rd house. Say this person may be a bit compulsive. Yeah, let me explain Libra. Libra is cool. Libra likes balance, but what it is with Libra, like they say in a big, they like balance. They'll compromise. They like to see people get along. They get a little upset if things don't get along. But one thing about them is they just carry a matter. Like Virgo can be very critical, too detailed oriented. And Libra can just carry a matter. Like you might talk about it And you may think you're going to agree to disagree, but not with Libra. They're going to carry on. If they're going to try to get you to see their point, even if you feel that point's not right. So when you see Pluto, which is very powerful but can be obsessive because Pluto deals with power struggles and can be very transforming, but that compulsive behavior to just keep talking about something when, okay, let's not talk about it anymore. So it says Pluto and Libra can be a bit compulsive. They want to understand the world around them because this is your third house. Even though this is just talking about Pluto and Libra. It didn't say anything about the third house, but the third house is the brotherhood house. It's kind of like the community house in the world around you. They want to understand the world around you, but they may act before thinking. They really want to appear as if they are in control. They work very diligently at making all of their relationships work. This is their way of transforming themselves and others. Some may be unconventional, while others may be very traditional in how they view these relationships. Libra, Pluto loves art, and they respond best to the art that makes a strong impression on the viewer. So, like I said, a very artistic person, cultured person. They like decorations, because this is all Venus and Libra and Virgo. Detail-oriented. Pluto, Libra loves fairness and justice. They can help to reform laws and make things more equitable. They are fairly diplomatic, but they can get angry if they see injustice. They try to commit harmony. Fighting and discord causes them pain. They can dive right into any situation, and that you already saw that in the first and second house, and now in the third house. And they're able to wade through the unpleasantness to create that peace. And you see that I told you in the second house with Mars, because they'll go through the fight. They're not afraid to fight this person. They try to compromise when they can and find a middle ground. All right. So you got it. Because the third house is about brotherhood. So you got it. I've done a lot of natal charts in my life. I've never seen a natal chart that's been this positive from the start. Never. I've seen some happy ones when you knew this person was like some type of angel or something. But they're very rare. But I've seen charts that, I mean, almost from the start, they're like, wow. All right, now we're getting to the fourth house with Scorpio and Uranus. So this person is going to love technology, unique things, weird things. And this is all in the family sector. But see, your fourth house is going to take you right to your 12th house. Because from here on in, we're going to start where it says number 11 with the moon in Cancer. We're going to begin to treat that solely as your 12th house. Because we understood what the makers did in the beginning. We've already explained that. But from now on, from here on in, unless the natal chart tells me differently, from now on, where it says 11, that is your official 12th house. And you already see it's dealing with your 4th house with the moon in Cancer. Because your 4th house is ruled by Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon. Your 4th house is teenage to adult, education, land and property, the heart, family and ancestors, vehicle and travel, and whatever woman or whatever person raised you of a motherly capacity when you were younger, that person will be in your subconscious the whole time you're here on planet Earth, and that is your Imam Coeli. And that's exactly who you see in your 12th house with the moon in Cancer, and Lilith is right there. But the universe is kind of saying she's the reason why you're able to make the money that you're able to make, because it has Jupiter right there. So the first thing we're going to do is to get a better understanding of Uranus and Scorpio, and then we're going to read the 8th house, because Scorpio rules the 8th house. Well, just so you know, Scorpio, very powerful, highly sexual, highly mysterious. They can deal with obsession, even stalking. but they're very intuitive. They're very psychic, and they can pick stuff up that they should not have no way to pick up. They can know stuff that they should not know, and you better not cross them, because even if they think you crossed them, they can be very quiet. They'll never tell you they're mad at you. They'll never tell you they got something on their mind, and they can be very vindictive, and they can get you back when you least expect it. Uranus and Scorpio. Uranus is exalted in Scorpio, meaning that Scorpio is Uranus' strongest, most creative sign placement, where it expresses its energies in its highest, most positive forms. So I really believe if you want somebody to decorate your house, even with Virgo energy, clean the house, renovate the house, I think this person would be the person you want to call. And if you go back to where the true north node is, right there with Virgo, the home sector and the money in the second house. So this is the person, like, they really could do it. Like when you be seeing weird looking houses and space age houses and all this weird stuff in houses and stuff, this is that person. And it's kind of connected to their calling. Your will and persistence are tremendous. You will find a way to express yourself no matter what. And that's good. But like I said, with Libra will keep pushing things when they should be quiet sometimes. You could be a healer, surgeon, psychologist, as you are able to go deep beneath the surface into the cause of pain and disease. And again, that could be even a family doctor who uses alternative means of healing. This is all you're getting is, if your Uranus is afflicted, because remember, your true north node is in the home sector. That's Virgo. It might be in the second house of money, but it's still with Virgo. That's health and service and home, young children, animals, even a veterinarian, daily activities and duties. So you have a lot of possibilities. But if your Uranus is afflicted, you will have jealousy, envy, possessiveness to deal with. It is unwise to avoid the necessity for personal growth and regeneration this placement demands. For you are morally capable of the highest and the lowest behavior. So they're going to say you're going to have to make a choice, because you could actually be low with all of this, or you could realize that you really have a lot to offer and you can go higher with it. But that's the choice you're going to have to make. So you might have a lot of passion in your life, but you're going to have to learn compassion. And that means just allowing other people to be people. Resentment must give way to understanding. In general, many individuals with this placement are innovative in sexual matters, anything taboo, and have insights into what makes our darker side tick. This person will be into the mystical, the occult, and you got to be careful. They say drugs as well, because Uranus can deal with addicts and drug addictions. All right. So now, all right. So all this can be in the family sector. So now, so you're when you're dealing with soul families, you get that too. But your fourth house is going to be a lot like your eighth house, because Uranus rules your eighth house. So we're going to do your eighth house right now. The eighth house is ruled by Scorpio, ruled by Pluto, because Pluto rules Scorpio. It deals with secrets, mysteries, doubt, accusations, suspicions, supernatural, psychic abilities, internal plotting, internal indignation. And when it says internal, because you're not telling anybody, conspiracy, vengeance, revenge, anxiety, esoteric knowledge, forbidden knowledge, hidden knowledge, obsessions, addictions, power struggles, abuse, greed, lust, compulsive behavior, codependency, stalking, intense watery emotions, because Scorpio is the most intense, most watery sign there is. Arguments, debates, tauntings, revenge, fear, intensity, psychic abilities, great transformation, high sexuality, doubt, debt, taxes, IRS, legal matters, court, law, lawsuits, inheritances, law breaking, shared resources, finances, business, karma, other people's money, the soul, reincarnation, afterlife, birth, death, resurrection, rebirth, regeneration, rejuvenation, animalistic behaviors, freaky, down and dirty behaviors, psychological situations, studies, research, knowledge, forbidden knowledge, hidden knowledge, investigations, investigators, managers, agents, addictions, drugs, alcoholism, other worlds, creepy crawlies, other dimensions, science, higher sciences, holistic healing, spiritual healing, alternative medicine, internet, long distance, advanced technology, alchemy, metaphysics, sacred geometry, things that are forbidden or taboo, astrology, knowledge, hidden knowledge, aliens, higher life, astral planing, telekinesis, telepathy, dreams, interpretations, animals, enemies, Halloween, the divine womb, deities, tarot cards, higher thoughts, inheritances, loans, bankings, animals, pregnancy, women's body, and finance. The 8th house rules other people's money and transformations. Other people's money can mean debt, taxes, inheritances, wills, joint finances, shared resources, and loans. The 8th house is on the axis with the 2nd house, and the 2nd house is the axis of money. The 2nd house is your money. The 8th house is other people's money. But because Scorpio is in your 4th house, you're going to be dealing with this 8th house stuff in your 4th house. Transformations can be mental, emotional, physically. It can be sex, start of life, pregnancy, process of life, and major transformation to a woman's body, and death, both literally and or figuratively. And you just have to be careful, because if you're dealing with other people's money in the family sector, that could be, home services or whatever. But you want to be careful, because you're also dealing with Virgo, home, 4th house family, and then you're dealing with Libra, which could be law, and Scorpio can also deal with lawsuits and things like that, other people's money. So you have to be very careful. It's kind of like when you hire contractors and then they be playing all kind of games to try to get more money out of you and stuff. That's what we're kind of looking at here in these first 4 houses. It's a possibility, so you just have to be careful. Now in the 5th house, again, this person's gonna be very psychic, and you're very well with telepathy, very well with telepathy. Telekinesis, you could probably talk to your twin through the mind. Telepathy, dreams, psychic. So you have very great psychic abilities. Because of Sagittarius and Neptune. But Neptune retrograde makes you run into escapism. And you have to be careful, because Neptune deals with viruses and things like that, or allergies. So you have to be careful that you don't catch these things. And Neptune retrograde, a person runs into escapism, drugs. But it increases your intuition, though. So that's why I said you're going to be really good at that. You can make a lot of money doing that as well. See, a lot of people don't realize, like, a person like this, they have so many ways to make money. They don't have to do nothing silly or illegal. Because when people don't realize you might be having a very successful business, but you say, oh, but we could make so much more. And they say, well, it's a chance we could get caught. They go, well, it's a chance we might not get caught. You understand? Like Leo, all that fifth house, all that's about taking risk and all kind of stuff. But if you get caught, you lose so much, and then your reputation's kind of tainted. You know, whereas if you just did good business, you would have to have a lot of money anyway. It's usually not worth the risk, unless you're somebody like Atlantic City, because they pay a lot of people off. But even then, you're losing so much money paying people off, but then you're making so much money. Like it's a business thing at the end of the day. So your fifth house is about travel, but see, Sagittarius rules the ninth house. Now this is where they're playing with you a little bit. Your fifth house is usually opposite your 11th house, but they've made your 11th house into your 12th house. So it's a lot being said there. But Jupiter rules Sagittarius. And your Jupiter is in your 11th house, which they made into your 12th house. Palace helps you see patterns. Vesta is like a priestess, but she also has a lot of energy. But she could also be highly sexual, depending on your placement and everything on your chart. Sagittarius rules the ninth house of higher self, foreign. So this person might even travel to other foreign lands, long distance, foreign countries. So Sagittarius rules higher education. Like I said, this person is probably highly educated, to higher self, philosophy, law, in-laws, religion, but very cultured person. So that's how they have a lot of fun, but it's like in that realm of traveling, expanding the mind. But you have to be careful, because in this house of fun, you can burn yourself out, because Vesta is trying to tell you, be careful, take rest, because you'll burn yourself out. But this person loves to have fun, but they do have to be careful if their fun includes escapism that is like addictive. So use your Neptune retrograde to increase your telepathy and your psychic abilities and your intuition. And like I said, you can make a lot of money there as well. But don't and be healthy. Be healthy. But don't use your Neptune retrograde to escape or become addicted to anything, or use substance abuse. Because most people don't think they're going to become an addict, but usually they do, most of them. Now, something happens in your sixth house. Couple of things in your sixth house. Your soulmate is connected to your sixth house. Why do I say that? Because you have the vertex, that cross at 22, twin flame, and Juno. But unfortunately, there is some failure to nurture here. And also infidelity. When you see Juno retrograde, that's infidelity. But in your sixth house, there's a seriousness there. See, again, sixth house is ruled by Virgo. So again, there could be some money issues, possibly, because Virgo's in your second house of finance. But this is career and reputation. And this is your house of health, home. Because I already said you may have a career related to home. I've already said that. And your true north node says it. And then your sixth house says it again. So health, healing, service, home, young ones, and small animals. So somehow you have a serious relationship with somebody in these sectors. That's Juno, but then there's infidelity. But it does appear to be your soulmate, because The vertex means your soulmate or significant event that happens, or a significant breakup or a significant meeting. So now when you get to the 7th house with relationship, again, like they have alternative relationships. That goes back to your 4th house. See, this is alternative relationships and unique relationships, because that's Aquarius. And they may be community minded as well, but it's not going to be a traditional relationship. And that's where Libra rules. And that also was in your 3rd house, ruled by Gemini. Your 8th house, highly psychic person. See, they're even spiritual with Pisces. Got to be careful of Pisces, because Pisces it sacrifices itself. So you never want to love anybody more than you love yourself, and you never want to be sitting there doing for somebody, because you sacrifice yourself. You lose your joy and other things. And remember, that's still your house of shared resources. So this is a highly psychic person, because Pisces is going to take them back to 4th house, where Cancer is. Because Cancer is psychic too. The moon used to rule Pisces. Well, the moon used to be associated with Pisces, but now it's associated with Cancer. But the moon was always connected to Scorpio when you're dealing with reincarnation. So you have all this stuff going on. Now in the 9th house of higher self, and the 9th house of higher self, you have that Aries aggression. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. You might like to travel. You might be just really educational minded, and you just don't want to stop. You might be into philosophy. Or you might have in-laws. You might want to see your in-laws. So that's not necessarily bad. 10th house is Taurus, and it seems to be healing for you. And your medium coeli can also be part of your your life purpose. So you notice how your true north node is in the 2nd house, ruled by Taurus. This is how you know that I got the right count. When I told you, I'm proving it. Again, your true north node is in your 2nd house, that I counted it as your 2nd. Taurus rules that house. Your medium coeli is also in Taurus. So you have that medium coeli, Taurus, possessions, finances, putting a value system on things, but you try not to put a value. You don't treat people like your car. You treat people like people. So you don't want to put a value system on people like you would on your possessions and things. And that's healing for you. Now, Taurus can be very sensual as well, especially in like the 8th house or the 5th house. It can be highly sensual. Taurus loves to eat. In the 5th house, it likes to have fun, likes to have massages. But it has to be careful, because in the 5th house or anywhere where there's money, it tends to want to blow money, especially like in the 5th house. So Taurus has to be careful. So as I said, you do got some type of career going on, and it does seem to be involved with home, and that's probably where you meet this guy if you already know him, because Capricorn rules the 10th house. So you have some type of home type of career going, but this guy is with you, Capricorn. But Capricorn energy. But you do have infidelity, whether in this life or a past life. 11th house is Gemini again. Gemini is about brotherhood, because Gemini and Aquarius rules the 11th house, and that's ruled by Uranus. So again, these could be your people. When you see Scorpio with Uranus, it could be secret societies or people that are into mystical stuff or hidden knowledge or secret knowledge. And it's a community with Gemini, their brotherhood community. It's still friends association and groups. It could be travel, could still be creativity, just going out having a fun time and things like that. That's basically your 11th house. Now your 12th house is where you got to get things together. 12th house to say what's going on. And whenever you have like Cancer in the 12th house, there might be some mother issues there. It could be father issues too. It could be family issues that might be inside your subconscious. See, your 8th house tries to get you to face these things in your subconscious, your shadow and dark personality, so that you can become a better person and move on. And as you know, you see his moon sign is also Cancer. So it could even have something to do with him. Because usually your twin soul, your twin flame, is directly connected to your family that you were born into. So here is where the day of reckoning. And it deals with buildings. Could deal with prostitution, incarceration. Could deal with alcohol, addictions. Anything that's considered like a shadow personality. Could deal with church, any type of building. So what the 12th house tries to get you to do is to be more spiritual minded and learn to work with people. Like to let people be a part of the family and care about helping others, but not to the point where they cause you to sacrifice yourself or you burn yourself out. Now, because Cancer is there, that is some type of family situation going on. And it's lucrative for you. Your 12th house has Jupiter there. So it's lucrative for you. When you see the moon in Cancer, again, that's really a nurturing. That's your mother, the feminine emotions, the feminine feelings, psychic abilities. And I tend to call it Imun Coeli, the mother in the subconscious. So we'll look at Jupiter in the 12th house. Oh, come on. So Jupiter in the 12th house, because see, Jupiter rules over Sagittarius. This is all about higher knowledge, religion, philosophy. So Jupiter in the 12th house can be a person who really is into stuff like that, but they're very imaginative, but they love to take in knowledge. So again, there's teaching abilities there as well, teaching others. Okay, now this is a really good website. This is 8and12houses.com. That's the number 8 and the number 12 houses.com. And she says Jupiter in 12th house, and she's probably going to give you really good. So she says you're very intuitive, and you're actually shielded from the negative energies of the 12th house. Because like the 12th house really tries to force a person to address their shadow sides, and that's why if you throw somebody in jail, for instance. So now they say you have a guardian angel that watches over you, and that guardian angel shields you from the pain and sufferings often found there. You have a vivid imagination and an optimism approach to life. So that's why I say overall it's pretty good. You just got to watch that Scorpio stuff. You got to watch that Scorpio stuff in the 4th house and in the 8th house, because Scorpio rules the 8th house. And you just got to be very careful of greed or taking risks that are, you could get caught and just mess everything up from your reputation. Because that's why you're seeing Capricorn so much. It's talking about your reputation. And if you notice where you see that Capricorn at or that Saturn, it didn't look as good as it could have looked. So you have to be very careful. You have a vivid imagination and an optimistic approach to life. So do spiritual things such as meditation, writing, metaphysics, and spirituality. Because the 12th house is a lot like the 8th house. So you are blessed with spirit easily. You're connected to spirit easily, and you have a deep connection to God. They say this type of person could become a nun, a priest, or a rabbi. You love to study ancient knowledge and are attracted to things that are deep and meaningful. So you have good luck coming to you because you help spiritual people. Well, you help spiritual work and you serve others. So you have good luck coming to you because of that. The more you serve others, the more blessings will be given to you. They say you have a strong desire for alone time and solitude. It says you enjoy being alone by yourself and prefer to spend time alone. And I don't know if that's true because her ascendant is Libra. I don't know. Libra likes to do stuff with partners. It says you are sensitive in large groups and would prefer to spend time thinking, writing, and studying deep subjects. They say because of your personality, people may enjoy sharing their problems with you. Again, if you use your psychic abilities, they could be very lucrative for you. You are able to answer various questions from many people on a variety of spiritual subjects. And I kind of explained that to you because of Scorpio, Virgo, and probably a few other things I said. You have a natural understanding of life that you were born with. You understand why we are here. You may have grown up in a family that is very different than you, and they will not understand your spiritual nature. She says you could sacrifice yourself for greater causes or greater spiritual causes, and you're selfless. But again, we always warn people, but don't let other people burn you out. Because you think you're helping, but you're not, because those people need to learn how to stand up as well and use their gifts just like you do. You will receive good luck and blessings each time you make a sacrifice for others. The more you give to others, the more you receive. You attract abundance in many areas and are always searching for a deeper connection to the world. You are someone who enjoys spending time in deep thought, and you like to try to figure out what is the purpose of life. You do not enjoy superficial subjects and prefer to live an ascetic lifestyle. You realize that true happiness does not come from the outer world of material possessions, but from within and by finding your connection to your spiritual source. You are blessed with psychic gifts and intuitive gifts. You can have visions, impressions, and dreams that predict the future. You would benefit by keeping a journal next to your bed at night while you sleep. Not only while you sleep, so you could write your dreams down, wake up, write your dreams, however you do it, but you should keep a journal with you at all times. You need to write your dreams down every night, and it will be beneficial to keep a journal so you can start to write down your intuitive impressions throughout the day. That's what I just said. You are luckier than most people who have 12th house planets, and you are shielded from the loneliness that usually comes with the 12th house. So that was good. I'm glad we found her. That's a very good website. Now let's try to get her name. Her name is Carmen Turner Scott. Carmen Turner, S-C-H-O-T-T. Carmen Turner, S-C-H-O-T-T. And if you just put 8 and 12 houses, she'll come right up in your search engine. So I'm going to tell her she does a great job. I'm going to leave her a note. All right, so that does conclude the 12 houses for her to the left. Now we're going to do gentlemen to the right. All right. So same thing. 12th house became the first house. Now, but according to my chart, but see, what you have to understand, that AC could be on the middle, but it's not according to my chart. But when you're dealing with time, it could be, because you might do it. You might put the same information in another chart, and you'll get it. You know, that's why I try to say this is more about energy. That's why I'm trying to tell you. If you could just understand spirit, don't get too technical with this. But his rising sign would be Cancer. But that's taking his rising sign and a moon sign. So he's going to have a motherly, but it's still his 12th house, but they made it his first house. You see? But he's still going to have somewhat of a motherly characteristic about himself, a nurturing characteristic about himself. So that's how the world's going to see him. He's a very 4th house person, family minded, education, could be land and property, family and ancestors, the heart, travel or vehicles, and the Imum Coeli in his subconscious mind, whoever raised him from a motherly position. But he's going to be that way himself. He's going to be nurturing, a motherly. And his moon is at 22, which is the twin flames number. So his house here is directly connected to her so-called 12th house. It was 11th, but we already explained why it's the 12th house. Now, he doesn't really have a lot of planets around him, but he does have the moon. So we're going to talk about either when he was born or when he was born or when he was in the mother's womb. 12th house should be prenatal in the mother's womb. First house should be birth. But again, because it is his 12th house, but they made it his first. So you can figure that out as you see fit. But we are going to look at the moon. And what else are we looking at? Are we looking at a sign as well? Let me see. All right, so Cancer. Yeah, well, the moon, Cancer. All right. So when he was born, it was highly emotional for his mother. Security issues with the mother's marriage or in the mother's life, and in general, are often found, such as the stability of the marriage or housing or money. A focus on the home is common, whether it's remodeling or moving. The mother may feel a vague sense of worry over caring for her new child. See, what I'm saying is that happens. Like if we could just get past this matrix, we would laugh at how similar our family is to our twin's family. That's why it's so foolish to have a problem with your twin, especially when they never did anything to you. But it's just that this stuff is crazy. We don't understand it. It scares us. We don't have humility, and we just stay in this mode of self-protect. I'm going to protect myself. From what? You're protecting yourself from yourself. And they don't understand that. All right. So his second house, he's a leader in finances. We already told you the whole Leo sign, so we're not going to read a whole Leo. Look, we already did that on the left side. The third house, once again, it's about the home, health, service. He's kind of a creative as well, mental, because this is ruled by Gemini. Might be communications about because we already said he's family minded. So this is the house and service and health and things of that nature. Now he's going to find himself in a relationship with a Libra. But once again, it's infidelity. Now, you see how they're playing, because his Libra rules the 7th house. Now, her her Juno is about to enter the 7th house. So I could definitely see a soul connection. Not saying twin soul. The difference is this. Also, for anybody with twin flames, make sure you listen to the video, The Stages of Twin Flames by DNA Awakening, seen and heard on YouTube. Because a lot of people don't understand twin flames, and you got to understand it. Because there's no way you're going to act correctly, because you're going to tend to take things personal, or let your feelings get involved. Also, a soulmate can be anybody in your soul family or soul group. But a twin soul is your soul in a different body. That's the difference. So now his Juno is a 4th house Libra issue. And her Juno is a 6th house, but is very close to the 7th house, which is Libra. So he has some family concerns because his Libra's in the 4th house. And Libra in the 4th house, again, could be legal matters with the family, partnership issues, contract issues. And you always got to remember, contracts can be wills and things like that as well. But either way, he has a infidelity with some type of Libra type energy. And the 4th house is ruled by Cancer. Cancer, a Libra type situation. Now in his 5th house, wow. 5th house ruled by Leo. But so he likes the unknown. See, we already read what's in the 8th house, so we're not going to read it again. There's a lot of information. But he likes the unknown, and that's fun for him. But then you got these retrogrades. So he has to be careful because a lot of energy. And see, you see they're connected again because his part of fortune is in the 5th house, which is ruled by Leo. And her part of fortune is in Leo. And see, now this is where it gets weird. This is what I'm trying to tell you. See, now that would be her 12th house. Why? Because his part of fortune is in Scorpio, which rules the 8th house. And I told you there's a connection between the 8th and 12th house. That's why that woman Karma calls it the 8th and 12th house. So know when you're dealing with his 5th house with Scorpio and a part of fortune, that makes her 12th house go back to being 12. That's why you really need to know how to read this. People think it doesn't matter, and I guess in some ways maybe it doesn't. But sometimes if you understood, like on my other channel, I will be doing a video about a wrestler that came from my township. And I've always had a psychic connection with him. We're almost the same age. He's older than me. But we went to the same school and everything. But he's come to me on numerous occasions. And today, because they're celebrating, everybody loved him so much that they're celebrating. It's been 11 years since he died, I guess. And they're telling WWE that they want the WWE to induct him in the Hall of Fame this year, 2018. But this guy's come to me, and I'm sure they will do it. This guy's come to me and everything. But I always knew things about him that I never knew to today, which only proved everything I was saying. Because I listened to all these wrestlers that knew him personally talk about him. I never knew him. My friend used to be, they're older than me. And my friend used to always, they used to be, but I didn't know, I just seeing them. But somehow we just got connected, I guess, because of my friend or whatever. And I always honored the guy because he's from my township. So I used to have a TV show. But he actually came to me on numerous occasions. But now the information I got today proves everything I said. So this is why you want to know the little stuff, because you might get upset about something that you shouldn't get upset about. So what I was saying was, he was in a match one time with a guy that was and he was in Japan fighting, and the guy was being very disrespectful to him in the ring, really disrespectful, and he couldn't figure it out. So after the match, he was talking to another guy, and the guy said, "Well, I'm surprised he gave that match to you, because usually he doesn't give matches to foreigners. He won't lose to a foreigner." And then they said from then on, this wrestler that I knew wasn't mad anymore. At first he was extremely mad. Why was this guy so unprofessional? And why did he really do some really just stuff you shouldn't do to somebody? Especially in a ring full of people. An auditorium full of people. But once he understood the reason why, they said he wasn't mad no more. Because he took it personal. But it wasn't personal. The guy didn't like no foreigners. He didn't want to drop the belt to no foreigner. So once the guy realized, well, he did drop the belt anyway, so I can't be mad. I do got the belt now. And second, it was never personal. So once he understood that, he was cool. So Twin Flames is like that. Once you begin to understand what this is really is, you won't take everything so, and then you can get past it. Because you're going to have to get past that Gemini breakup energy and get into Sagittarian energy, because it's your higher self. It's more mature. So that's why you're seeing Sagittarius and stuff like that. But now he has a lot of issues with Scorpio in that 5th house with that Leo energy. And I'm guaranteeing he also has money issues, because Leo is in his 2nd house. And it's the 2nd house and the 8th house oppose each other, and Scorpio's in the 8th house. So there's some money issues here too. Now, whether his money issues have something to do with over here or on the left, I wouldn't know that. We'll just continue and see what we see. And even his Vesta is retrograde in the 5th house. So his 5th house is really. See, just looking at, because I've seen charts like this before. See, I think they have a soul connection. They may even have a karmic connection, but I don't think they have a. I don't think they're twin souls. Because I see charts like this before. It's always a karmic connection. Alright, I'm going to put this on pause. I'll be back. Alright. So we want to know that Vesta retrograde. That's the first thing. In the 5th house, we want to know the Vesta retrograde. It's funny how they did that 3 and a 4 with the Vesta and that. See, it's got a little spirituality going on, because I know Vesta is like the priestess. But just give me a moment. We're gonna have to look this stuff up. Alright, let's see this. They say Vesta retrograde is telling the person it's time to get back to your center. But we're going to look at a little bit more. So Vesta is a time to reflect on the way that you serve others. Vesta retrograde makes you ask whether your service is selfless, pleasure, or martyrdom, obligation, or genuine responsibility. All right, but I'm still going to look a little bit more. Now this was good. This is twin astrology. She gave a good definition about Vesta retrograde. So it's for twin flames and divine partnerships, because your soulmate can be a divine partnership. Vesta tries to help you anchor your fifth 5D energies. Helps to balance the masculine and the feminine to purify and heal you. And remember, Scorpio is about healing. Because he just has a lot of retrogrades in that 5th house. So he definitely has some Scorpio issues. And especially issues related to sexuality and sexual energy. Because I told you. Yeah, because Vesta deals with that. But not all, she's also a priestess. It just depends on the natal chart. Sometimes she deals with sex, sometimes she doesn't. So when Vesta retrograde helps you balance out, or help you bring out your creative energies and help devote that creativity to your missions, to your mission while you're here, for the person on the right. So we're going to do this. I want to put this in right now so I don't forget. Alright, so let's do this now. We're going to do part of fortune again, a good fortune. Good fortune and Scorpio. Person can be secretive and intense. No plan or plot will be too complex to use in his pursuit, to have fun. And we'll do part of fortune. We just did in Scorpio, part of fortune in the 5th house. Creative and emotional energies, but they'll be overflowing. Very creative person, very artistic, and that's what these two probably have in common. He loves adventurous enterprises. He has luck with speculation and with children. He has strong abilities in creative fields of arts, theater, music, literature, and invention. He pours himself into what he's doing. He needs appreciation and applause. And that was good fortune in the 5th house. But now her good fortune to the left is in Leo. So let's look at that and see. Because the 5th house is ruled by Leo. All right. But Saturn and Pluto are lesson teachers. With Pluto retrograde, it could take away something like that. See, this person to the left did have Leo issues, but they weren't as dramatic as this. And even their Scorpio issues was like a possibility. But there was nothing to say, oh, wow, it really went wrong. But there were a lot of implications that it could be wrong if not careful. But where this person on the right, it's like, oh, no. As soon as they got to that 5th house, everything. And then even with Libra in the 4th house, you see the Juno retrograde. So this person has been around, probably lived a nice amount of lifetimes, and they got a lot of karma to work on, a lot of lessons to learn, especially in this life. And Scorpio can definitely mean escapism, addiction, obsessiveness. All right, so now we'll go into these retrogrades. All right, give me a moment. All right. So the first thing I want to look at is, we'll do the Pluto retrograde, but I know that's about taken away. See, because what you would have to do, the person would know But it's everything that's in that 8th house is also in his 5th house because of Scorpio. But it's something there that would be taken away. So Pluto retrograde brings change, fresh starts, and dead ends. Things you hang on to most can be suddenly taken away, causing you to reevaluate what you value most. Change can come through destruction and rebuilding, or rejuvenation and regeneration. Now, outside forces can be at work, government upheaval, weapons and war. Change can be difficult, and sometimes being forced into change is the only way to push someone forward in life. So this person has some type of Scorpio Leo thing going on where Pluto retrograde is forcing this person to make change. And they deal with issues of control. They may try to control everything. They may try to hold on to relationships so tight that they become suffocating. Because Scorpio does deal with shared resources and things in the 8th house. And maybe that's why Libra has that Juno retrograde. This person may have been ostracized from their family, community, or exiled from their home country. They may have been the scapegoat for the community, and this community let them stand alone, perhaps for something they didn't even do. So this person may tend to be mistrustful of others, especially those close to them. So in this life, they have to learn how to trust. So you can't let the weakness and mistrust of others affect you. Don't give them the grip that they can hang on to you too. You have to learn how to use your wisdom to learn who to trust and who not to allow into your close sector. So that's for Pluto retrograde. Now for Saturn retrograde. Saturn, like Jupiter, are social planets. Saturn retrograde will make you work harder or take longer to think things through. There are no shortcuts when Saturn is retrograde. You can't rush detailed plans. Take times to breathe and do things right the first time. Issues with authority may be forefront during this retrograde. Working on legal matters such as contracts or deals may be delayed. Deadlines may be extended, and may find yourself working on something you thought you already completed. See, now you got Scorpio, which deals a lot with contracts and wills and inheritances and business agreements and shared resources and other people's money. And then you got Saturn retrograde saying, yeah, this could even be a legal issue. So this person is always in conflict with authority, Saturn retrograde. This person may feel persecuted by the boss or upper management. They may even abuse their own authority. And they have difficulty in setting limitations or determining the limits of others around you. And that would therefore they start to feel like a victim. So you have to learn patience as well. So this person may have had a lifetime of abusive situations as a victim or the abuser. They may have even been a prisoner, enslaved, or they may have once been an abusive ruler. And you were probably immensely impatient. So patience is also a lesson you must learn in this life. So they may have even been somewhat of a bully, getting other people to do things they should have done for themselves. So you have to learn a lesson of accountability, of patience, and not abusing others, and not allowing yourself to be abused either. Holding people accountable for their actions. So those are the two retrogrades and what they stand for in the 5th house. So that was interesting. Now the 6th house would be his soulmate, or his significant meeting, or his significant breakup. And that would be with somebody with Sagittarius energy. Or it could be Virgo energy. But that doesn't mean it's her. This is our soul. Like if you, I've taken charts. I've taken like 3 charts together and stuff like that. And you could tell when it's like soulmate. I've seen charts that were so close. And I could see how that would really make somebody go crazy. Like I've seen charts of a woman with the man she's with, but also her lover on the other chart, and she's in the middle. And I could see how I felt sorry for her, because it was too similar, way too close. So his 6th house is about foreign service. And also he may find unique ways for health. His house may be, have a lot of foreign stuff in there. Still about a higher education, philosophy. It could be about law and in-laws. And this is the home sector and the health sector. Small children. Small animals in the 6th house. Co-workers and subordinates. So Uranus retrograde means you expect the unexpected. Surprises come out of nowhere. And that is funny that his Uranus retrograde is in his home sector. But she has Uranus in her family sector, but it's not retrograde. But that's interesting though. So these unexpected surprises can be wonderful or undesirable. And Uranus is considered the eyeball of the planets in the solar system. It can amaze and amuse, or it can come with chaos, either externally or in the world, or externally. See, he's got a lot of that. With that other retrograde, Pluto retrograde, could be stuff going on in the world, like wars or a government upheaval. And then Uranus does the same thing. So he may have experienced that. Maybe even like service, military service, or foreign wars, or foreign worlds, or foreign stuff. Because the 6th house is the house of service. So he may have actually seen that in his life. So they can become the opposite. If they were a wild person, they become inhibited. And if they're shy, and if they were a shy person, they may become wild because of this Uranus retrograde. It's extremes. So this person can be very extreme, no really middle ground. You're either right or you're wrong. They don't know how to compromise, so that's a lesson they have to learn in this life, to compromise. In a previous life, they may have been a rebel, revolutionary, and that's why I said it's a possibility this person has, in this life, has been in some type of service, even foreign or traveling. So they had to learn compromise in this life, and compassion. So serving others can help with that. So maybe that's why they put it in the 6th house of service. And also taking care of their health. So in the 7th house, you have Capricorn. So this person is looking for partnership. So there you go back to that Libra now. He's looking for partnership because Libra rules the 7th house. But he's looking for a partnership, serious contract. Like he's somehow turning either the partnership or the relationship into a career, or even legal matters, because that's what Capricorn is. It's a career. Career and reputation. And then he's got Neptune there, which is interesting. See, they call Neptune a deceiver because Neptune direct, like this one is very idealistic. But the world isn't very idealistic. The world is realistic. So Neptune is a deceiver because it can make you think, oh, everything's great, and then you get the reality of life. So that could be a situation here. See, he may be very idealistic about a serious partnership, relationship. And maybe he may even try to make it a career as well. But he may be deceived because Neptune is dealing with idealism. Neptune is not dealing with reality. So let's just look at Neptune in Capricorn. So when you see Neptune in Capricorn, you can see the dissolving and dissolution of old governments and national boundaries. Now, that's why I keep saying this guy, he keeps being compared to governments or service or chaos or upheavals. They say during the time of Neptune and Capricorn, you saw the Iron Curtain come down in the Soviet Union, but the Soviet Union came down now as well. But they really don't even use that term Soviet Union anymore. So the dissolving of governmental philosophies such as communism throughout the world. So that was an upheaval. This was accompanied by an upsurge of idealism, Neptune, like I told you, in the old forms, Capricorn. Because Capricorn represented, like I said, rulership, authority. If it was in the religious sector of this man's chart, or the woman's chart, it would represent like the Pope or religious leaders. So Neptune jumps in to make these more Saturnian. Oh, we're going to control everything. We're going to rule everything. But Neptune jumps in and make it more idealistic in different ways. Maybe for the people, or maybe the governments just think they have a better way to do what they were doing. So this symbolizes the entrance of the spirit or the idea into form and structure. Advanced souls incarnated while Neptune was in Capricorn. So that's what they're saying, advanced souls. Because remember I told you Capricorn represents the old soul. But in Neptune they become advanced souls. Incarnation. And they're doing this in his 7th house. So he's definitely looking for a partner. These individuals will take positions of statesmen and women, educators, healers, and spiritual leaders. He says, we began to witness the sea tap for minerals at the time that Neptune was in Capricorn. Now, and that's what you kind of got now. I don't know. Give me 1 second. But you kind of got a leader, Capricorn energy, with that idealistic personality. He's in office now. I was just looking where Neptune was right now. But right now, Capricorn is Saturn is in Capricorn as well as Pluto. And we just talked about those two as lesson teachers, and they were talking about upheaval. But boy, everything's almost direct. Almost everything in the sky right now, as far as planets are concerned, are direct. We don't have any planet retrograde in the space right now in our solar system. So that's kind of interesting. All right, so what do we do? We did Neptune and Capricorn. Neptune in Capricorn is reserved and refined, especially in areas related to control, power, fame, and success. They dream of wealth and power even if they don't know quite how to attain it. They can use their imagination to put just about any idea to practical use and in turn into money. Capricorn Neptune is serious and likes to think things over. They have the ability to concentrate on anything that happens so they can solve any problem that occurs. Detail work is something they usually excel at. On the other hand, they may tend towards melancholy, secrets, and deceit. And when they get this way, they want to shut themselves away from the world. And remember, his Juno retrograde, I believe, is in Libra, and now you're kind of finding out why. Capricorn Neptune may be a bit conservative and traditional. They reflect on spiritual matters and are inspired by the great masters of art, music, and literature. Many become cynics or critics. They may be accused of not having enough compassion. Neptune in Capricorn excels at organization and bureaucracy, and they are curious and they are conscious of status. They like to be an authority. Their only problem is getting reality to work as they think it should. And that's what I told you. They're trapped with idealism because Neptune is a deceiver, usually. They may envision a system that runs smoothly, is responsive to the needs of all those involved, and that promotes on merit. It can be frustrating for them to deal with harsh reality instead. But see, that's not a really that's a terrible place to have. Not in the seventh house, because the seventh house is supposed to be about relationship. But this guy's got a lot of internal stuff going on with himself. Now in the eighth house is where his money's at. And it's Aquarius. But again, Aquarius is alternative, what's ever there. It might be using modern technology, but it's alternative. If the 8th house is talking about sex, it would be like alternative sex, using devices. And Aquarius can also be even using the internet for stuff, but it's using technology, just using alternative stuff for whatever he has in his 8th house. But he's able to make money there with Jupiter. Very lucrative. 9th house, this is higher education, but for him it's going to be spiritual. And again, if you go back to Neptune is in his 7th house. Sagittarius is in the 6th house, but both his 6th and 7th house are going to be dealing with his 9th house. But his 9th house is going to be highly spiritual. Highly spiritual. His 10th house with medium Coeli, which is also part of his purpose in life. But you don't see his true north node until the 12th house. But it's going to have a bearing on his medium Coeli as well. But he's going to have communication problems. People are going to have trouble understanding him, especially with that Aries aggression. So he has to be very, very, very careful. Because with Mercury retrograde, he's going to be misunderstood. Whether he's talking, writing, whatever he does, it's usually going to be misunderstood. And that's in the career sector. So you don't want to mess your career up because you're being misunderstood. But see, Aries still wants to jump in. Aries just wants to go, doesn't want to think, doesn't want to plan. Have to be very careful. Palace will help him find patterns, but again, you still have to calm down. So now we'll find out about Venus retrograde. But he may be some type of leader too, because Aries can be the sign for the leader in the 10th house. Just have to be very careful. It says a Venus retrograde focuses on romantic relationships and intimate emotions. Suppressed feelings may come to the surface, and you might find new ways of expressing them. People may reevaluate what they want from life from those around them. And during this retrograde, they may seek these new desires elsewhere. So that might be why he has a Juno retrograde. Even individual value systems can come into question. What we value most may seem unimportant, or what we disagree with before can now not seem too bad or different. We may find ourselves reevaluating the meaning of personal views such as friendship, love, intimacy, and spiritual beliefs. If Venus is retrograde in your chart, you may have some relationship issues to overcome in this lifetime. It's likely that in a past incarnation, you felt inhibited or restrained to seek what you really wanted in life. There were probably also external forces beyond your control to keep you and your lover apart in either the same past life or another that is also influencing your current embodiment. Therefore, you may have never learned how to conduct a mature, productive relationship in this lifetime. Today, you probably find it hard to fulfill your dreams or desires from the people who are close to you. You may have difficulty connecting with your mate and sustaining intimate relationships with friends. You may also seek fulfillment from your partner, but that always seems to come up short. Now he's saying some of these issues that apply to emotional matters may also apply to financial matters as well. You may feel you never have enough in your pocket to have a relationship, therefore your self-worth might become low or become a personal issue for you. To overcome these lessons in this life, try to focus on what you really want in a relationship and consider your choice of partners carefully. Good advice for everyone, but especially for those with Venus in retrograde. And they say, remember, you cannot get happiness from other people. You must be happy with yourself first. And you have to learn how to give back to your partner and those you are close to as well. All right. So why was this in his why they put that in the 10th house, I'll never know. But this is definitely past life stuff. But both at the number 16. So just give me a moment. Aries ruled by Mars. Yeah, you kind of see because Libra rules. Because see, his Libra has Juno retrograde. Libra rules Venus and Taurus. And you got Venus and Taurus right there. Venus is retrograde. And then he's got Aries there with all these retrogrades in the 10th house. But Aries is ruled by Mars, which is right there. So for some reason, he will have a lot of kind of like social issues. Now, just like they said, he's going to have relationship issues, social issues, and possibly even career issues. But see that he's like he got with that Aries energy, he has to be more compassionate. All right, we're just gonna look at what 16, the number 16 means in different spots. We will go on to 4 different websites. Angeltherapy.com says your words are magnetic. Your words are magnetic affirmations that draw to you the very things you talk and think about. For this reason, the angels remind you to be aware of your words and thoughts. That's a good piece of advice. But let's see if there's anything else. Hebrew Gematria, BillHydrick.com. Number 16, slaughter, murder, strength, short and firm of the divine name. To grasp, seize, or hold. Breathe, flee, hasten away, refuge. Idle talk. All right. Now this is Gematrix.org. 16, back, Chad, Gaga, Free Kaba. Fee. And then on my page, which is prophecylastdays.webs.com, prophecylastdays.webs.com. Number 16 can mean incarnation complete, which at that location is by the medium Coeli, so it is interesting. Karma complete, incarnation complete. incarnation completion nearing. So I got all that from the number 16. Because in his chart, his 10th house is significant. Palace helps you find patterns. That's that little diamond there. And then his true north node is Taurus. But Taurus is also about possessions, finances, and value system. And Taurus has to make sure, because the 11th house has to do with friends, association, and groups. But you want to make sure you're not putting a value system on them. And you also don't want to bully them. And you also just don't want to use people for your own selfish benefits. But again, he's got Mars there at 11:11. So again, you got to really watch that aggressive behavior, that bullying behavior with people, because we just learned he's going to have social problems with people. Even when he tries to talk, they're not going to be able to understand him, and the way he delivers himself, they might not like. And normally, when Taurus is in a room full of people, universally, Taurus, they don't even if they don't want to, but they take over. Like, people will go out of their way to please a Taurus. But for some reason, with those retrogrades, especially, well, both of them. Now, what happens with a Lilith retrograde? She might feel slighted when she's around people. She might feel slighted, and she may hold it in, and then it might come out in different ways. Or sometimes she just blows up, like out of nowhere. She'll just blow up, especially with Mars right there. That's like, it's kind of like passive aggressive, because they hold it in, then all of a sudden it just comes out. And they may really be mad about something that happened 4 or 5 months ago, or down the line. But that is his true north node, to really be around friends, association, and groups with Taurus energy. And Taurus can be sensual. Taurus likes to eat. But this is your community house. And to understand your 11th house, you also have to understand where Aquarius is. So again, it's almost like hers, where I said it could be like secret societies. I was saying, or just like little secret communities or whatever. Now his final house, the 12th house, and I take that back. His true north node is in the 12th house with Gemini. But his 12th house has nurturing and healing. And this is the house of reckoning, when they're going to look at all the internal stuff. So it deals with Gemini energy, multitasking, thinking, siblings, the community around you. Younger education, creativity. And you might say the things that are in his 3rd house, and that's the home, because Virgo's in his 3rd house, so that's representing home, health, service. And usually the 5th house is opposite. Let me do that again. Yeah, usually the 5th house is opposite. Well, this is the 6th house. So usually the 6th house is opposite the 12th house, usually. And it almost still is a little bit. but you're really dealing with Pisces and Gemini energies. So his 12th house is really looking at that his 8th house, because that's where Pisces is. So they're trying to, anything that's a shadow or in the dark, they're trying to bring out and help him reconcile with it so he can move on. But he's to use his Gemini community personality to help, because that's what the 12th house is always about. Not going inwardly and becoming an isolationist, but actually working with people and healing yourself and helping people heal through his Gemini energies, communications, and things like that. But in my opinion, his chart's a little bit more complex. To understand his chart, you would have to see his twin's chart. But they might have a soul connection. They may have a soul connection, but what they have in common that I can see is they both are hard workers, and they both have an aggression towards work, and they're highly creative. That's why I say sometimes you connect to people for different reasons. But this is more soul family, I would say. But it's definitely not twin flame. Your twin flames natal chart, they'll tell a story. Usually. Sometimes I've seen something it's harder to see. You might see it through the numerology as opposed to the symbols and stuff. But it usually tells a story. Like a high percentage tell a story. But this one, it doesn't really tell a story. You just see two people that have you can see why they would be somewhat attracted to each other. But it's just that they have a lot of passion. And that's why I said that's why it's not always about feelings. Because you might have, like, soulmates get along way better than twin souls. Like, you may have a great relationship with your soulmate, but you and your twin barely talk to each other. Alright, that will conclude this. As I said, I do have sales going on right now. You can check it out on the channel. You can go to the description box as well. You can also contact me and ask for the service and price list. All that information is in the description box. And again, for anybody that wants to get started on any natal chart, you'll need your month, day, year of birth. If you don't have the time, we'll ask the archangels. Male or female, we need that for the system. They choose either male or female, and the city, state, and country where you were born, if not the USA. Now, if you want the full life purpose based on your name and numerology, your birth date, then we would need the name that's on your birth certificate as well. Alrighty, and all this information is in the description box. You can always contact me. We do anything intuitive, psychic, a little bit of psychic, anything so-called unknown, anything is so-called hidden, occult. We ask questions as well. And like I said, we got a lot of sales going on. A lot of them are mentioned on the channel, or you can always contact us. God bless.